Hello everyone, I'm Mike Benson for George Langevin Productions, welcoming you to high school championship baseball. This afternoon it's La Jolla going up against San Augustine in the Division 2A final. These two teams met earlier in a tournament game, and San Augustine victorious 5-1 in that game, but since La Jolla has gone 19-5, so San Augustine will see a different ball club out here this afternoon. So it looks to be an exciting game. Sit down, relax. We'll be back in a moment for the opening lineups.
For San Augustine, leading off in center field, number 7, Jonathan Santos. Batting second, the right fielder, number 2, Oscar Lopez. Batting third, the third baseman, number 9, Craig DeLuz. Batting fourth, the shortstop, number 11, Pete Albers. Batting fifth, the second baseman, number 10, Memo Lopez. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, number 5, Marty Richardson. Batting seventh, the first baseman, number 32, David Bocci. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 20, Jamie Olson. Batting ninth, the left fielder, number 1, Chris Belinda. Pitching for the Saints this afternoon, number 22, Javier Thomas. The head coach of the Vikings, Mike Stevenson, and assistant, Mike Thompson. They are the Vikings of La Jolla. Leading off in center field, number 18, David Myers. Batting second, the shortstop, number 9, Chris Circuit. Batting third, the pitcher, number 23, Jason Green. Batting fourth, the left fielder, number 22, Pilar Flores. Batting fifth, the third baseman, number 17, Jeff Rizzo. Batting sixth, the right fielder, number 8, Seth Tobago. Batting seventh, the second baseman, number 3, Ames Crawford. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 13, Seth Newsom. Batting ninth, the catcher, number 2, Rob Crawford. Head coach of the Vikings, Bob Allen, his assistants, Mike Francis and George Pinnell. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, we ask that you stand and join with us as we proudly present our national anthem, which this afternoon will be sung for you live by Tony.
All the action just about to get underway here in the CIF San Diego Section Division 2A final. Let's take a look at the starting lineup in the field for La Jolla. Starting at first base, wearing number 13, is sophomore Seth Newsom. Ames Crawford, a senior, wearing number 3, starting at second. Sophomore Chris Circuit, wearing number 9, is starting at shortstop, and starting at third base is freshman wearing number 17, Jeff Rizzo. Pilar Flores, wearing number 22, he's a senior, starting in left. Junior David Myers, number 18, starting in center field. And rounding out the lineup in the outfield, playing in right is senior wearing number 8, Seth Hidalgo. Junior Rob Crawford, the catcher, he's wearing number 2. And getting the starting nod on the mound, wearing number 23, is junior Jason Green.
Leading off for San Augustine in the top half of the first inning, batting in the first position, the center fielder, number 7, Jonathan Santos.
La Jolla comes into the game with an overall record of 20-11-1. With the Western League champs with a 9-3 record. They're coached by Bob Allen in his 4th year as the head coach of the varsity. Coached the JV for Lincoln, then went over to La Jolla, coached the JV for 4 years there, and now he's the head coach. assisted by George Pinnell, Mike Francis, and Scott Montana helping out as well. So leading things off here for San Augustine is John Santos, the center fielder. First pitch right down the pipe by Jason Green. San Augustine, they're coached by Mike Stevenson in his 5th year, and he's assisted by Mike Thompson. The Saints come into this final game with an overall record of 28-5 with the Harbor League champs, undefeated 12-0. Second pitch comes into Santos, swing and a miss for strike 2. On deck is Oscar Lopez and Craig DeLuz in the hole for San Augustine. So Santos doing a nice job as the leadoff batter comes into the game, batting .364. Ball low. Jason Green wasting little time going from pitch to pitch here. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count on John Santos. Found backing away towards the backstop. Batting 4th is Pete Albers. Batting 5th is Memo Lopez. Marty Richardson will bat 6th and actually DH for Javier Palmas. David Vaki will bat after him, followed by Jamie Altman and Chris Barunda, as that one's fouled backing away for the 2nd consecutive time by John Santos. One ball, 2 strikes, still the count here on Santos, who also has 31 RBIs on the season. He's the guy they want to have on base. There's 15 stolen bases on the year as well. Ball high. Evens up the count at 2 apiece. So Jason Green, 7-2, his record on the year, will fill up the count here against Santos. Jason had a 1.70 ERA. Did a fine job. Had 68 strikeouts, only give up 52 hits in more than 65 innings or so. And that one walloped out to left center field. And making the play and getting underneath was David Myers. Oscar Lopez getting set to step in for San Augustine. He's their right fielder. He's just a freshman. Great contact hitter, batted .398. During the regular season. Had 28 RBIs as well. He's only struck out 7 times on the year. So has a good eye for a youngster. 1 out. And that one poked out to left and may go foul, and does. But Oscar Lopez really getting around on that one. So Oscar Lopez really getting around on that pitch. Feels he has Jason Green's number as he drilled that one to left field in foul territory. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Oscar Lopez. On deck is Craig DeLuz and Pete Albers in the hole for San Augustine. Swing and miss for strike 2, but a nice hefty cut there by Oscar Lopez. San Augustine in the first round defeating University City 7-6. Pete Albers squeezed home Oscar Lopez with the winning run there. Green delivers. That one a little bit high. Oscar probably wants that one back as he sends that one to right field. It might get in, and it does. And Oscar Lopez will be in there with a sliding double. So when that ball left the bat, I was mentioning that Oscar might want that one back as he kind of hesitated on the swing and then got around a little bit late and floated that one up in the air. But that one, a Texas leaguer, if you will, just dropping in behind the second and first baseman and just in front of the right fielder. So 1 down, 1 runner on, and that brings up Craig DeLuz. Craig coming into the game batting .466. 37 ribbies as well. So his eyes have to light up here with a duck on the pond. Breaking ball, call strike. And Craig, a good contact hitter as well, with 124 at-bats, has only struck out 4 times. Sees the ball well on a consistent basis. Two strikes on Craig DeLuz. Has a couple home runs on the year, 17 doubles. He's come across and scored 41 runs as well. So quite a player for St. Augustine the whole year long. As Green pivots and goes over to second. Just wanted to let Oscar Lopez know that he is aware that he's taking a lead that he might not be comfortable with. So John Santos led the game off, hit the ball deep out to center field. Easy catch for Myers, and Oscar Lopez reaching on the double. Swing and miss for strike 3. Craig DeLuz will go down on strikes. And that will bring up Pete Albers, the shortstop. Pete also did a nice job as a pitcher. We won't see him in this afternoon's game on the mound. And he actually had a record of 7-2 on the mound, so did a nice job. Jason Green set to deal. That one hit out to left field, might drop in, and does. And they're going to send Oscar Lopez. And he stands up for the first run of the ball game. So an RBI single for Pete Albers. Pete Albers, I mentioned a moment ago, coming through in the game against University City as he squeezed home a run. Just continuing where he left off, doing a nice job for the Saints. Memo Lopez, who had a phenomenal year last year, was the Harbor League Player of the Year, CIF Player of the Year as a junior. Has slowed down a little bit in his senior year, but still has respective stats. Batting .330, has 20 RBIs, sees the ball well. A lot of the pitchers probably not wanting to pitch to him, has 30 base on balls as well. He throw over, not in time. So 2 outs, 1 runner on, 1 run has come across for St. Augustine. That one right down the pipe by Jason Green. St. Augustine went on to defeat West Hills in a game that Craig DeLuz pitched well, pitched a 2-hitter. They went on to win 5-2. They throw over once again, not in time. And they went on to defeat El Camino 20-8 in the semifinal. Actually set a playoff record with 13 runs in 1 inning in that game. Throw over once again. Pete Albers just gradually trying to take a little bit more of a lead with each pitch. And Jason Green apparently not appreciating it. Throws over 3 consecutive times. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count on Memo Lopez. Right down the middle. So Memo also one of the many players on this team that pitched well on the year. Had 12 saves. The record was 13. Went on to have 22 career saves. So set a record. A few of the players setting some records this year. We'll talk about that throughout the ball game. That one fouled back towards the backstop. But taking a look at the semifinal game, La Jolla won 6-5 over El Capitan. La Jolla got 7 straight hits in all of its runs in the 3rd inning against the Vaqueros. Just trying to hold off St. Augustine here. That one fouled back once again. So the Saints back for the 2nd consecutive year. Lost to Mission Bay 6-0 in last year's final. So looking to redeem themselves here against La Jolla. 2 outs, 1 run has come across. Well, to a nice start. That one fouled out of play.
Please return the foul ball to either dugout. Please return the foul ball to either dugout. Thank you.
1 ball and 2 strikes the count on Memo Lopez, hanging tough at the plate here. Appears to be choked up on the bat about a half an inch. That one thrown high. Evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beautiful sunny day here at Cunningham Stadium, University of San Diego. A throw over, almost getting away there from Seth Newsom as he jumped up from right to left on our video dial to snare that one. That one gets away, and Pete Albers advances to second quite easily. A lot of room over there. That one fouled out of play. Get it. Two balls and 2 strikes remains the count here on Memo Lopez. So the sign of a good hitter is when they foul off 5, 6, 7 consecutive pitches and end up making solid contact. So let's see what Memo does here. Fouls that one out of play again. Jason Green working hard against Memo Lopez here. That one fouled on the first base side, and Seth Newsom coming over and makes the catch behind his body, but not before. On a couple base hits, San Augustine picks up 1 run as we go to the bottom of the first. La Jolla coming up next.
1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors. They won. Taking a look at the state. Around the outfield, the left field, number 1, Chris Baranda.
Starting at first base for San Augustine, wearing number 32, is senior David Vaki. Wearing number 10, starting at second, is senior Memo Lopez. Pete Albers, a senior wearing number 11, will start at shortstop. And starting in the hot corner, wearing number 9, is senior Craig DeLuz. Starting in left field, wearing number 1, is senior Chris Baranda. And starting in center field, wearing number 7, is John Santos. He's a senior. And freshman Oscar Lopez, wearing number 2, getting the starting nod in right field. Sophomore Jamie Altman, wearing number 20, will be starting at catcher. And Javier Palmas, wearing number 22, is a senior. He'll start on the mound for the Saints this afternoon in this Division IIA final. Leading things off in the bottom of the first for the Vikings is David Myers, the center fielder, as he watches the first pitch go right down the middle by Javier Palmas. Javier 12-1 on the year. Throwing the ball exceptionally well. The breaking ball in the dirt sets the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. But Javier had 93 strikeouts in 84 innings. Gave up 59 hits. Had 2 wins and a save last week. That one bunches right down the third base side. Javier throws, and they just get him. I tell you what, that was close. It almost appeared as if the umpire hesitated just a moment, just wanted to make sure his call was correct. And Javier Palmas, coming off the mound, really had to come well off the mound to make that play and just sizzle that ball over to first base. If you're scoring that at home 1-3, 1 up and 1 down, that brings up Chris Circuit batting second. Jason Green is batting third. We'll take a look at the rest of the lineup. Pilar Flores batting cleanup. That one fouled out of play. David comes into the game batting .357. Did a nice job trying to bunt to get on, but to no avail. And Chris Circuit, he's just a sophomore with a .338 batting average himself. A lot of the players batting over 300 this year. That one, a nice breaking ball there by Palmas. Taking a look at the rest of the lineup, Jeff Rizzo will bat 5th. Seth Hidalgo 6th, followed by Ames Crawford, Seth Newsom, and rounding out the batting order will be Rob Crawford. Ball high to Chris Circuit. Circuit has 17 RBIs on the year. Has 5 doubles as well. Fouls that one back towards the backstop. But in the opening round, La Jolla defeating Torrey Pines. They're actually behind 7-1 in that ball game and came back to win 11-7 as Pilar Flores went 3 for 4, actually 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs to lead his team in that game. Swing and a miss for strike 3. 2 up and 2 down for the Vikings, and that will bring up Jason Green. Jason comes into the game with a .609 slugging percentage. Batted over 400 during the year, had 28 RBIs to lead his team in that category. Also hit a home run on the year. Had 36 hits to lead his team in that category, and takes a big healthy swing there on the first pitch by Javier Palmas. On deck is Pilar Flores and Jeff Rizzo in the hole for La Jolla. That one hit slowly, a fisted ball to the first baseman, and they cannot get him as the second baseman comes over, not in time. Vaki just trying to hustle off the bag, and covering up was the second baseman Memo Lopez. So a base hit for Jason Green as he represents the tying run. San Augustine out in front 1-0, and that will bring Pilar Flores to the plate. Pilar, who batted just under 300 during the year, had 19 ribbies and 3 doubles. On deck is Jeff Rizzo and Seth Hidalgo in the hole for La Jolla. So 2 down, 1 on for Pilar Flores. Javier Palmas delivers, and that one roped right up the middle. And Jason Green will hold at second, so the second consecutive single by La Jolla. Trying hard to get themselves right back into this ball game as they trail by 1 here in the early going. La Jolla defeated Carlsbad 2-1 in the quarterfinal. Actually, were trailing in the last inning in that game as well, and came from behind to win that one. La Jolla with a couple big wins coming from behind, and they went on to beat El Capitan in the semifinal, getting 7 straight hits and all of its runs in the 3rd inning. And they throw down. Will they get him? Yes, they nail him at 3rd, and that will do it. San Augustine gets out of a little jam there as La Jolla picks up a couple hits, unable to score a run, and at the end of 1 complete inning of play here at Cunningham Stadium, it's the Saints 1 and La Jolla 0.
La Jolla in the bottom half of the first inning. 4 runs on 2 hits, no errors. 1 man left on base.
Let's take a look at the umpires here for this final ball game. Tommy Hernandez behind the plate. The first base umpire is Dennis Smythe. Second base is John Bees, or actually make that John Beal, and Bill Klukas at third base. Leading things off for the Saints in the top of the second will be Marty Richardson, the designated hitter. First pitch comes in, and he ropes this one high out into left field. The left fielder going back. and makes an over-the-shoulder grab to sit Marty Richardson down, but Richardson really getting a hold of that one, roped that one higher than it went far, actually. David Avaki comes to the plate, the first baseman for the Saints. Batted .339 on the year. First pitch low and inside. David had 13 RBIs and 4 doubles on the season. Swing and a miss for strike one. So George Langevin Productions presents Trivia Time. We'll have that for you right after this pitch. We'll have a question for the players and one for the parents as well. That one high and outside. But just this past May 1993, which player, active Major League player, became just the first of 6 players, swing and a miss for strike 2, became one of only 6 players in modern-day Major League Baseball to have at least 3,000 hits and 300 home runs. So that's the trivia question. Name that player. Ball low. And now for the parents. This happened in 1911 and 1922. I know it's a little ahead of your time, but this is a great question. You're going to love this one in a moment. The chopper to third, gloved and thrown over in time. So a fine play by Jeff Rizzo. Remember, he's just a freshman. A lot of composure there for a young athlete. And that brings up Jamie Altman, another youngster playing in the final. He's just a sophomore. Two down here for the Saints. That one a little bit too low. It appeared to be right down the middle, just a little bit low. But the question is, in 1911 and 1922, which players batted over 400 and did not even win the batting title? Jamie Altman shaking his head as if to say, I wish I had that one back. That one apparently a little bit out of his strike zone. Not really taking a liking to that higher pitched ball, but his instincts made him go with that one. On deck is Chris Barunda as Green delivers, ball outside. Green, you have to credit what he's trying to do. He appears to be just trying to hit the ball in each corner, respectively. So San Augustine came away with 1 run and a couple hits in the first inning. La Jolla had a couple hits, were unable to pick up a run in their half. And that's where we stand, 1-0 here in the top of the second. Ball high and inside, and that will send Jamie Altman to first with a walk. Chris Barunda will step to the plate here for the Saints. The Saints defeating La Jolla 5-1, I mentioned during the introduction, in an earlier season tournament. That one fouled back and away by Barunda. But the interesting statistic there is how the young La Jolla squad has come on. They've only got 4 seniors, but they started off a little bit slow. We're 1-5-1 in the Pirate Colt Classic and have come back to have 19 wins since then. So La Jolla with a slow start and a strong finish here, making their first appearance in this championship ball game. 2 down, 1 runner on for Chris Barunda. On deck is John Santos. Oscar Lopez in the hole. Nice lead by Altman. That one fouled out of play on the first base side. Jason Green set to deal the 1-2 pitch. 1.70 ERA. And a fine, fine season. We'll take a look as we go along here at what's happening in the Major League as far as the team standings and player statistics. Find out what's happening on this day, June 2nd, 1993. Let's take a look at the National League West. The San Francisco Giants, led by the hot hitting of Barry Bonds and Matt Williams, find themselves 5 games out in front of Atlanta. Ball outside. The attempt to steal, and nobody's there. Nobody was covering. And Jamie Altman in there easily. So a little miscommunication there between Ames Crawford, the second baseman, and the catcher, Rob Crawford. Apparently, a little confusion. We'll find out here in a moment. So Coach Bob Allen came out to the field and had a discussion with all of his players, and I'm not really sure what the mix-up was there, but Jamie Altman stealing second, and neither the second baseman nor shortstop covering on the play. So just a little mental error here. As John Santos at the plate in his second plate appearance, as he hit the ball hard out to center field, but right at Seth, or actually make that David Myers, and hits it sharply again to the shortstop, who gloves it, makes the throw, and they get him in time, but a run will come across, and of course that won't count because that's 3 down. So at the end of 1.5 innings of play here, it's San Augustine 1 and La Jolla 0.
For San Augustine's in the 4.5 innings of play remain. San Augustine 1, La Jolla 0.
Jeff Rizzo leading things off here in the bottom of the second for the Vikings. Jeff batted .241. Only came to the plate 29 times. Strike call, 1 ball and 1 strike to count on Jeff Rizzo. Still managed to have a .364 on-base percentage. Fouls that one out of play on the third base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Javier Palmas ahead on the count here to Rizzo. Ball in the dirt, evens the count at 2. Getting back to the standings, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won 13 of their last 14. A couple weeks ago, they were a dozen games out. Now are only 5.5 games out of first place, and the Padres back in the pack, a dozen games back. That one hit to the second base side, scooped up and thrown out in time. 4-3 if you're scoring that at home. As Memo Lopez scooped that one up and threw over nicely to David Vaki. And that brings up Seth Hidalgo, the senior right fielder. Seth with a .338 on-base percentage this year. And 15 runs batted in. As he hits that one high in the air to the shortstop. And Pete Albers right there to make the play. Let's take a look at what's happening in the National League East. Philadelphia sporting the best record in Major League Baseball. 7 games out in front of Montreal. We'll take a look at the American League here in a moment as Ames Crawford steps to the plate. He's the second baseman. Ames with a .375 on-base percentage. Belts that one right between the shortstop and third baseman. The Vikings looking for a little 2-out rally here. Ames Crawford with the third hit of the game for the Vikings. And that will bring up sophomore Seth Newsom, the first baseman. Seth, one of the many young players, has 2 good, solid years ahead of him. Coach Bob Allen having to feel great about that. That one might get through. Memo Lopez hustling over right to come up with the play. So 4 up and 3 down. And at the end of 2 complete innings of play, the Saints still out in front, 1-0 over La Jolla.
No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left on base. The score again is 2. That's what I'm saying. Let's go out. umpire for St. Augustine's in the top half of the third inning, right fielder, Oscar Lopez.
Oscar Lopez will lead things off for the Saints here in the top of the third. As we had a chance to survey the stands. A nice turnout here for this CIF San Diego Section Division 2A final. You're watching all the action right here at Cunningham Stadium at the University of San Diego. Jason Green still on the mound for the Vikings, only giving up 2 hits on the afternoon. First pitch to Oscar Lopez. Called for a ball, but Oscar with a double came around to score the first and only run of the ball game in the first inning. Remember, he's just a freshman, making solid contact against Green. Squares to bunt, then backs away, just looking for that first strike so he can get in there and get serious about making contact once again. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. As Jason Green deals. That was smacked out to center field. David Myers comes up to make the play. Craig DeLuz stepping in for St. Augustine. Went down on strikes in his last plate appearance. Waste no time trying to make contact and fouls that one out of play. But let's take a look at the fine season that Craig has put on this year, batting .466. We mentioned that he has 37 RBIs leading the team, also scored 41 runs, has a couple of home runs, 17 doubles. And actually, unofficially here, one behind for the county record, has 54 hits, unofficially. And smacks this one out to left field, high in the air. And that allows left fielder Pilar Flores to come up underneath that one. 2 up and 2 down, and that brings up Pete Albers. Pete had a base hit in his first plate appearance. The breaking ball just catching the inside corner for Jason Green. Very adept at hitting those corners on each side of the plate. Really mixing it up here with the fastball and that breaking ball. We mentioned earlier he had 68 strikeouts on the year. That's good placement. Albers hits that one up towards left field. The third baseman running over to try to get that one in foul territory, and that one getting away from everybody. Pete Albers, with 2 strikes, had two home run games on the year. He's got some power. Takes a big cut there, 3 up and 3 down. And at the end of 2.5 innings of play, the Saints won, La Jolla 0.
For St. Augustine's in the top half of the third inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. St. Augustine 1, La Jolla 0.
Rob Crawford will lead things off here in the bottom of the third for La Jolla. Rob coming into the ball game with a .396 on-base percentage. Doing a nice job there. The first pitch right down the pipe by Javier Palmas. So La Jolla unable to get on the scoreboard here yet. And that one roped out to left field. And Rob Crawford, who started the big inning against El Capitan when they had all those hits, might start another rally here as David Myers will come to the plate for La Jolla. David hit the ball, actually tried to bunt and get on, and Javier Palmas coming up to make the nice play, gunning David Myers down at first. David with 33 hits on the year, has a .636 slugging percentage. Doing a nice job all year long at the plate for the Vikings. Rob Crawford taking a nice lead off of first. That first pitch right down the middle. We'll take a look at the American League standings here in a moment. As Javier Palmas wasting no time. Both these pitchers with a lot of momentum. Like to keep the game going fast. And as that ball goes out of play, let's take a look at what's happening in the American League West. The California Angels getting great production from their young rookies. J.T. Snow having a nice year. Tim Salmon easily at second base doing a great job. They're one game out in front of the Kansas City Royals. And in the East, Detroit 1.5 games out in front of Toronto. And the Yankees 2.5 games back. So that's what's happening in the major leagues. That one swung and missed on the third strike as it gets by the catcher. David Myers able to reach safely after the strikeout. That one just getting underneath the glove of Jamie Altman. Chris Circuit at the plate with one down and one on. And just catching the outside corner was Javier Palmas. Chris Circuit, just a sophomore, went down on strikes in his first plate appearance. Looking to redeem himself here, is situated in the back portion of the box. Breaking ball just outside. So you'll probably notice the majority of the batters will be situated towards the back portion of the box, and that a credit to the hard throwing of Jason Green and Javier Palmas. As Green deals just outside. That was the discussion. Apparently David Myers is actually off base there. I thought he was going to be safely on first. Ball inside. On deck is Jason Green and Pilar Flores in the hole for La Jolla. The 3-1 delivery. Called strike, just catching the inside corner. So nice placement there by Palmas. The answer to the trivia question will come to you in the next inning. That one hit right up the middle. Fielded cleanly by Albers. And Bakke having to come off the bag as that throw was a little off target. Tried to sweep his hand around to get the hustling Chris Circuit. And he'll reach either on an error. Unofficially, you can call that an error, or as Chris Circuit was hustling down the line, it would have been a close play either way. But officially, we'd probably have to call that a throwing error on Albers. That one's so far off target that Bakke had to try to sweep his glove to catch Chris Circuit, but not in time. So one out. Runners on the corners here for Jason Green.
Of an automobile with a license number 2BZ.
Jason Green. Not a bad player to have on the plate, or at the plate here, with two ducks on the pond. Batted .414 this year. Strike call in that outside corner. Jason had a base hit. Was gunned down at third by the catcher. And drills that one out to left. And will it be caught? Yes! But on the tag up, that will allow Rob Crawford to come in and score. And we're all tied up at one apiece as Jason Green has a sacrifice fly.
Left fielder, Pilar.
Although La Jolla scored a run, a nice play there by Chris Borunda, the left fielder, to actually make that catch. That ball sizzled by Jason Green, the left field. The steal, Jamie Altman, unable to handle that one as cleanly as he would have liked, and that allows Chris Circuit to advance to second. 2 down, 1 run has come across. Circuit at second, and Pilar Flores at the plate. He's 1 for 1 in the afternoon. Right down the pipe for Palmas. Pilar with just under 20 RBIs on the season. He can poke it out there as Chris Circuit represents the go-ahead run. Breaking ball. 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. Exciting Division 1A action yesterday. Holtville defeating Julian by a score of 5-4. The attempted throwdown, and Circuit had a notion to go to third. Chris Circuit just off the bag, a little bit too far for Jamie Altman's thinking. He tried to gun him down. That ball getting out into the outfield, and Chris Circuit just knowing full well he didn't have enough time to get to third, so he got back. 2 outs here. Pilar Flores at the plate. Ball high. Altman doing a nice job to go up and get that one. That one gets by, and Circuit will advance to third. But again, Holtville with a nice victory, 5-4 over Julian in a game that they were out in front 5-4. Then the Julian Eagles come back and score 3 runs in the 6th inning. Almost won the ball game on a Frankie Stewart shot right in the gap, but the shortstop, as that one's fouled backing away out of play, the shortstop for Holtville snared a line shot grounder. Came from left to right on our video dial and just snared it and made the throw over in time to end any type of big inning for Julian. And they were able to hold them off the rest of the ball game, and they won 5-4 in the CIF San Diego Section Division 1A final. Pilar Flores hanging tough at the plate, hits a chopper to Albers, who guns it in time, but not before. La Jolla on 1 hit picks up a run, and at the end of 3 complete innings of play, it's San Augustine 1 and La Jolla 1. Memo Lopez to lead things off for the Saints here in the top of the 4th. First pitch chopped to the shortstop side. Shortstop has to make the long throw over, not in time, so an infield single for Memo Lopez. Chris Circuit, the shortstop, made a nice play to get his glove on that one. It was hit well into the hole there between short and third, allowing Memo Lopez to reach quite easily for the infield single, and that brings up Marty Richardson, who flew out to left, hit the ball solid, and got around well on green in his first plate appearance. So the Saints, who scored a run in the first, were shut down in the 2nd and 3rd. The throw over, an attempt to get Memo Lopez, but to no avail. Marty Richardson. 0-1 delivery. That one hit to center field. And coming up to make the play is David Myers. So trivia time. Let's see if you can answer the question. I'll give you another minute to ponder it. Which player became one of only 6 players in modern day Major League Baseball to have 3,000 hits and 300 home runs? We'll give you the answer right after this pitch by Jason Green. Memo Lopez leading off first. Had a nice lead, got a little caught off guard there as Jason Green pivoted very quickly to make the throw over. Tell you, half a second earlier, and Memo Lopez may sit down. The 2nd consecutive throw over. Memo just trying to be aggressive over there at first base. That's the type of lead you want to take, though, where you have to dive back. Third consecutive throw over, not in time. David Avaki hit the ball down to the third baseman. Was thrown out at first base in the second inning. Ball high and outside, the throw down, not in time. So catcher Rob Crawford doing his best Benito Santiago act. So the player plays for the Kansas City Royals. That's your first hint and only hint, as that one's fouled over the backstop. The answer to the trivia question is George Brett. That's the player's portion. And for the parents, we asked which two players batted over 400 and did not even lead the league in batting average. And that was in 1911, Shoeless Joe Jackson batted 408, and Ty Cobb won the title with a better batting average than him. I think he batted about 420 or so that year. In 1922, Ty Cobb batted 408, and George Sisler batted 420. So that's the answer there. Kind of like that question. Right fielder hustling up to try to make the play, and comes up with a beautiful shoestring catch against David Vaki. Seth Hidalgo, as he had to hustle up from well out in right field. He was situated deep out there because of the size and physical stature of David Vachi. Jamie Altman, who reached on a walk, will step in for San Augustine with 2 outs. Memo Lopez still wreaking havoc on Jason Green over here at first base with 2 outs. Altman drills that one out to center field. And David Myers doing a fine job as he darted back, was able to come up with the play. So San Augustine brings up 4 batters, 3 go down at the end of 3.5 innings of play. We're all still tied up here at 1 apiece.
Score at the end of 3 1/2 innings of play remains. San Augustine 1, La Jolla 1.
Leading things off for La Jolla in the bottom of the 4th is freshman Jeff Rizzo. Chops one right back to the mound. Javier right there to make the throw over. And that will bring up Seth Hidalgo, who made that fine defensive play in the last inning. Seth flew out to the shortstop side in his last plate appearance. First pitch gassed in there for a strike. On deck is Ames Crawford for La Jolla. Second consecutive strike, having Seth looking both times, so look to see Seth choke up a hair here and protect. Looks as if he's choked up at least an inch on the bat. Ball high. Javier Palmas not looking to send that ball in nice and juicy, making Seth Hidalgo work for this one. Ball low, the second consecutive ball. That evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Seth Hidalgo. Chopper to the third base side. Craig DeLuz unable to get the handle. Falls for an error, and Seth Hidalgo reaches safely. So an uncharacteristic error by Craig DeLuz. We'll bring up Ames Crawford. Let's take a look at some of the statistics for the players here. On June 2nd, 1993, Barry Bonds leading the National League with a .394 average, followed by Jeff Bagwell of Houston batting .367. Tony Gwynn down there in the 10th spot batting .320, but you know full well by the end of the year he'll be up there at either 1, 2, or 3. In the American League, John Olerud batting .395, leading the majors actually just by 1 point against Barry Bonds. right down the pipe to Ames Crawford. Ames had a base hit in his first plate appearance. Had a nice single. 1 for 1, batting 1,000 here in this Division 2A final. Has to feel good about that. Seth Hidalgo with the lead off first. Strike 2 on Ames Crawford. Lofton for Cleveland is batting .346. Paul Molitor, the veteran that moved over from the Brewers up to Toronto, is batting .338. Those are the leaders in the American League. We'll take a look at some of the RBI and home run leaders here in a moment, as well as Ames Crawford awaits the 0-2 delivery and smacks it out to center field. Left center, that may drop in. And rounding second and taking third is Seth Hidalgo. The throw not in time as Hidalgo slides in safely. And a double for Ames Crawford. He's 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Cut. Seth Newsom steps to the plate with 1 down and runners on second and third. That one nailed right down the plate by Javier Palmas. You can hear that ball just bang against the catcher's mitt. Seth hit the ball to the second base side in his first plate appearance. So La Jolla looking to threaten here and possibly go out ahead as Seth Hidalgo represents the go-ahead run. Ball low and outside. So both pitchers, Jason Green and Javier Palmas, pitching a whale of a game. Both in control. Ball high and inside. Jeff Rizzo started off the inning. Hit one right back to Palmas. He threw over for the first out. And then Seth Hidalgo hit the ball sharply down the third base line, and Craig DeLuz unable to handle. Seth was able to reach, and Ames Crawford comes up and smacks a double out to left center. That one fouled out of play. Seth Newsom in your screen. Again, he's just a sophomore. Has to feel great for him getting some Division 2A final action as a sophomore. Ball low and outside. And that will fill up the count with 1 out, runners on second and third. So a big pitch coming Seth Newsom's way here in a moment. Palmas delivers. That one ripped to the shortstop on the bouncer. Albers unable to handle, makes the throw over, and finally he gets him. So a nice play there by Albers on the second effort. But Seth Hidalgo comes in for the go-ahead run, and La Jolla has a 2-1 lead over the Saints. Ames Crawford moves to third, and that will bring up his older brother. Actually, his younger brother, Rob Crawford. Rob had a single, came around to score the first run for La Jolla. So the Crawford brothers, as a team, batting 1,000 in this final game. Two to one, and that one roped right over the third baseman's head for a base hit and an RBI for Rob Crawford. 3-1, La Jolla out in front of the Saints. So the Vikings having a nice inning here. Have scored 2 runs. Rob Crawford safely on first. And that brings up David Myers, who's made some nice plays out in the field this afternoon. Was gunned down in an attempted bunt in his first plate appearance, then went down on strikes in the third inning. Is 0 for 2 in the ball game. Ball low and inside, delivered by Palmas. So David Myers had a big year. I mentioned earlier, the .636 slugging percentage. He can get the job done at the plate. 33 hits on the year. Reached safely with a walk 17 times as well. Crawford leading off first. Ball low. 2 runs have come across here in the bottom of the 4th for La Jolla. They lead 3-1. Palmas delivers that pitch right down for a strike. Sets the count at 2 balls and 1 strike. Fouled away by David Myers. Let's take a look at some of the RBI and home run leaders in the majors. Darren Dalton leading the National League in RBIs with 45. His teammate Hollins with 43. Matt Williams and Barry Bonds over 40 RBIs as well. Home run leaders, Matt Williams with 15. Barry Bonds with 14. Darren Dalton with 14 as well. We'll take a look at the American League in a moment as that one hits off the foot of David Myers, but he was in the batter's box. So he'll have a second life at the plate. Taking a look at the American League, Albert Bell leading the league in RBIs with 44. Joe Carter has 41 and Jose Canseco has 39. In home runs, Albert Bell leading in that category as well with 15. Juan Gonzalez has 14. His teammate Dean Palmer has 13. So those are some of the big hitters in the big leagues. 2 down. 2 runs have come across, and David Myers ropes that one into left field and caught, but not before La Jolla picks up 2 runs on 2 hits. They go out in front by a score of 3-1 as we go to the top of the 5th.
On 2 hits, there's 1 set against an error and 1 man left on base.
It almost never fails the player to make the fine defensive play leading off the inning, and that is Chris Barunda, as he came up with that nice catch on David Myers' sizzler out to left field. Chris fouls that one out of play. On deck is John Santos and Oscar Lopez in the hole for San Augustine as they trail by 2 here. They had that 1 run in the first inning, and Jason Green has shut them down since. He's only given up 3 hits in the ball game. Chopper to third. They throw over in time. Jeff Rizzo, the talented freshman in your screen. That ball somewhat easy to handle as that was chopped right to him on the 2-bouncer. And that brings up John Santos. John making good contact in both plate appearances. The breaking ball in the dirt by Green. John hit the ball hard to center field in his first plate appearance, then got around and hit the ball towards a shortstop in the second inning. Looking to send one out into fair territory here. Ball low. Sets the count at 3 balls and no strikes. That one drilled out to right field by John Santos. So in a situation where you probably would have thought that he might have been taking all the way, John figuring that ball would be coming right down the pipe, and he figured right. He's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. That only the 4th hit given up by Jason Green. So probably getting the better of the pitching duel here against Javier Palmas. Palmas has given up 6 hits as John Santos takes a nice lead off of first base to throw over. To no surprise there. Oscar Lopez, 1 for 2. Doubled and scored a run in the first, flew out to the center fielder in the third. The throw over once again, almost had him that time. Seth Newsom doing a nice job getting down the glove in a hurry. Third consecutive throw over. This one almost thrown away. Scooped up nicely by Seth Newsom. Some of the pitchers doing a nice job in the major leagues. Tommy Green for Philadelphia, 7-0 with a 1.86 ERA. Hill for Montreal is 6-0, and Tommy Glavine for Atlanta is 7-1 with a 3.07 ERA. Ball inside. Rob Crawford having a notion to throw down. In the pitching in the National League, Whitman, or in the American League rather, Whitman for New York is 6-0. David Wells for Detroit, 6-1, and Alvarez for Chicago, 5-1. So those are some of the leaders in each respective league. Ball in the dirt. Rob Crawford doing a nice job just to keep that ball in front of him that time. One down, one runner on here on the top of the fifth for the Saints. They trail by 2. 3-1 the score. Ball high. And Oscar Lopez agreeing with the call. That one just missing the strike zone. Was thrown right down the middle of the plate, just a little bit high, as Oscar chokes up. Ball low, and Oscar on with the walk. John Santos moving to second, and that brings up Craig DeLuz, representing the go-ahead run for the Saints. Pitcher Jason Green apparently not happy with the type of lead that John Santos was attempting to get off of second base. Ames Crawford now moves over. And he throw over, not in time. John Santos getting back quickly. Ames Crawford doing a nice job over there at second. As soon as Green releases the pitch, Crawford will bop back over to second as he does. That one in the dirt, scooped up by Crawford. Rob doing a nice job behind the plate. Been a couple pitches that have gotten away from Jason Green, but scooped up nicely by Crawford. One down, runners on first and second for Craig DeLuz, and he belts that one out to left center. And that was for Santos. Here comes Oscar Lopez and Craig DeLuz with a 2-run double. We're all tied up at 3 apiece here in the bottom of the fifth. And with that hit, unofficially, Craig DeLuz has just brought himself home a county record. Has at least 55 hits. Phenomenal offensive production by Craig DeLuz. Pete Albers at the plate for the Saints. The breaking ball just missing. No, it does get in. A hesitation call there by the umpire, Tommy Hernandez. Thought they were going to call that a ball. That one just breaking in and catching the outside corner. So one down, 2 runs have come across here to tie the ball game up at 3. Craig DeLuz safely at second after that double. A 2-run double at that. adds a couple RBIs to his collection as he came in with 37. Pete Albers 1 for 2 in the afternoon, batting .500 here in the final game. Takes a healthy cut there. Just a hair late. Jason Green really rearing back on that pitch. On deck is Memo Lopez for the Saints. Albers pops that one up to the third base side. Jeff right there to make the catch. Two outs. One runner on for Memo Lopez, who's 1 for 2 in the afternoon with a single. So exciting championship baseball action in this CIF San Diego Section Division 2A final. It's far from over. We're all tied up at 3 runs apiece. Ball high and outside. So a lot of exciting sports action in this early part of June. We'll talk about a few things going on here in a moment. That one just catching the outside corner. But the NBA Finals going on. Last night, the Phoenix Suns defeating the Sonics. They go out in front 3-2 in the Western Conference. The Bulls play tonight against the Knicks. They're all tied up at 2 apiece after Michael Jordan came away with 54 points to tie up the series in the last game. Memo Lopez watches that ball come high and inside. In hockey action, Stanley Cup playoffs, Wayne Gretzky leads his team to a 4-1 win in the first game against Montreal. That one fouled out of play. And here, an interesting tidbit in that first game in the Stanley Cup Finals. Wayne Gretzky was in on every single goal. Get this, he has 3 assists. He scores a goal, and a deflection on an attempted goal by Montreal goes off of his stick and goes in the goal. So he actually has a part in all 5 goals in that game. So that an interesting tidbit in the world of hockey. But back to this Division 2A final. The Saints with a big inning here as Chris Brunda led the inning off, grounded out to third, and John Santos had a single. Oscar Lopez walked. Craig DeLuz with a 2-run double. Pete Albers flew out to third base, and Memo Lopez at the plate trying to keep it alive here with 2 outs. Jason Green set to deliver the 2-2 pitch, and that one spanked out to center field. Should be caught, and is, but not before San Augustine picks up 2 runs on a couple of hits. And at the end of 5, or actually the end of 4.5 innings of play here, it's San Augustine 3 and La Jolla 3.
Now, San Augustine 3, La Jolla 3.
Leading off in the bottom of the 5th for the Vikings is Chris Circuit. Reached on an error in his last plate appearance. Squared around to bunt, and Craig DeLuz coming flying up for that third base line. Chris, a sophomore, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. On deck is Jason Green. Pilar Flores in the hole. Javier comes low and outside with that one. 2 balls and no strikes to count on Chris Circuit. So La Jolla coming away with 2 runs in the last inning on a couple of hits, only to watch the Saints come to the plate and score 2 of their own. Chris Circuit watching that one fire right over the plate by Palmas. Chris got around a little bit late in his last plate appearance, grounding out to the, or actually hitting it towards the shortstop. Albers just unable to handle the play as he would have liked. And that one right down the pipe will fill up the count. The 3-2 delivery by Palmas, and that one might get in and just stays fair in left field, and Chris Circuit will have a double. A stand-up double at that. And that one appeared to get just off the end of his bat and swung just early enough to keep that one in play. Is 1 for 3 on the afternoon with a stand-up double. Jason Green, 1 for 1 on the afternoon. An RBI sacrifice. Waste no time trying to lift that one into the outfield against Palmas. Jason with 8 doubles and 3 triples on the year. He can hit with power. .609 slugging percentage. Looking to help his own cause here. Ball low in the dirt. Scooped up nicely by Jamie Altman. Chris Circuit hustling back to second. So congratulations to you if you answer the trivia questions correctly. Swing and a miss. For strike 2 on Jason Green. Jason with a big smile on his face. Maybe a little bit surprised that he might have swung on that pitch. Maybe a little bit too far outside for him even. And he steps back in with 2 strikes. He'd pivot the throw over to second, not in time. Let's have a little fun with this question. It's not really a, well, I guess it is kind of a trivia question. I was listening to Ira Fistel on XTRA Sports Radio. He always has a little trivia show. And he asked, how many stitches are on a baseball? See if you can figure that one out. That one roped out to center field, high in the air. John Santos underneath the throw to third, and Chris Circuit advancing to third quite easily. The second consecutive sacrifice for Jason Green. That will bring up Pilar Flores, 1 for 2 on the afternoon. But again, see if you can answer that question. There could be 2 answers if you count both sides of the stitch. But how many stitches are there on a Major League Baseball? I'll tell you at the end of the inning. Breaking ball right down the pipe to Pilar Flores. Singled in the first, hit the ball sharply to the shortstop in the third. Batting .500 here in this finale. So the players there on the far side in the La Jolla Viking dugout, coming out of the dugout to cheer their teammates on. That one chopped high. And Memo with a fine play, but not in time. And Lopez throwing home, and Javier Palmas not happy with the decision that Memo made. Maybe Memo just felt that he couldn't make the play to first, but now as he has his head up in the air, maybe he did realize that he made the wrong judgment there. So that allowing the go-ahead run as Chris Circuit puts La Jolla out in front 4-3 here. Timeout, St. Augustine. Coming into pitch for the St. Augustine Saints will be Craig DeLuz, who moves over from third base.
Defensive changes for St. Augustine. Now pitching.
And moving to third base will be the designated hitter, Marty Richardson. Jeff Rizzo will come to the plate. The Vikings going ahead here in this inning. Ball high by Craig DeLuz as he delivers his first pitch. Craig 7-1, throws over to try to snare Pilar Flores, but Flores back in time. So Craig pitched that two-hitter against West Hills, so he's got some confidence on the mound there. Catches the inside corner nice and low against Jeff Rizzo, the third baseman. Jeff hitting the ball right back to the mound in his last at-bat. The steal, the attempted steal, and that one roped out to right field, should fall in, and does. Rizzo rounding first will have a double as he slides in safely. And Pilar Flores moves to third. So Jeff Rizzo, just a freshman, getting the job done here. Seth Hidalgo comes to the plate. Reached on an error. Eventually came around to score the first of 2 runs in the 4th inning. Runners on second and third for Hidalgo. Ames Crawford is on deck for the Vikings. The high pitch, getting away from Seth Hidalgo. Took a gallant swing at that one. Slammed his hand against the bat. Probably wanted to hold up on that pitch, but was a little bit too late. DeLuz delivers the breaking ball too far inside. Sets the count at 3 balls and 1 strike. So the Vikings looking to add to their lead as they just went out in front 4-3 here over the Saints. Hidalgo drills that one right back to the third baseman. I thought that was the 3rd out, but apparently not.
Second baseman, Ames Crawford.
So backing up, that obviously the reason why second baseman earlier, Memo Lopez, went home as opposed to first. Pitcher Palmas, along with me, thought that there was 2 outs. Richardson with a throw over, and Vaki coming down with a catch. So 2 nice plays by Richardson, who just came into the ball game. And in the 5th inning, La Jolla picks up 1 more run, and they go out in front 4-3 at the end of 5 complete innings of play. Marty Richardson leading things off here in the top of the 6th after coming up with 2 consecutive fine defensive plays for the Saints in that last inning. We mentioned how it never fails, how when a player makes a great play in the field, he almost always comes to the plate. That's the case once again here. Marty Richardson has hit the ball well in both plate appearances previous to this. Hit the ball out to the outfield both times. Ball high and outside. Jason Green giving up 5 hits in the ball game. Delivers, and that one roped out into left field. And Marty Richardson finally comes through with a base hit after hitting the ball hard all day long. David Vaki, 0 for 2 in the afternoon. Tries to lay down a bunt. That one ends up foul on the first base side. On deck is Jamie Altman and Chris Barunda in the hole for the Saints. So the Saints came away with a couple of runs in the last inning, only to be followed by La Jolla picking up 1 and the go-ahead run in the bottom of the inning. And that's where we stand, 4-3. The Vikings out in front of the Saints. Nobody down, 1 runner on for Vaki as he squares around once again, hits that one too hard back to the mound. Possible double play as they turn it, and sliding in safely with the nice effort is David Vaki as to try to avoid a potential double play there as they force Marty Richardson out at second. So as you saw in the screen, as Vaki turned to pivot for the bunt and square around, everybody in the infield flying up, including pitcher Jason Green. Had plenty of time to gun Marty Richardson at second. They almost had a double play, but Richardson doing a nice job breaking up the double play. And Vaki doing an even better job sliding in. Probably came up with a mouthful of dirt, but he's safe. One down, one runner on for Jamie Altman, the catcher. First pitch by Green, called strike. You're watching a George Langevin production presentation. If you would like a copy of this video presentation, please give us a call at 549-9952. So pinch running for Vaki will be Mario Valladolid. Valladolid, with 11 stolen bases on the year, has a nice healthy lead off of first base. Mario also batting .333 on the year as well in part-time duties. Gets back. Everybody seems to take a deep breath whenever they see a player diving back, but I like to see that. A good, honest base stealer should take a lead that warrants a dive back to the bag. That means you're taking at least a 3, possibly 4 to 5 step lead out there. When the pitcher pivots back, you have time to take one step and then dive back to the bag. And he's gone. Mario on the steal. Jason pivots. And he'll have to settle for getting Jamie Altman at first, as Mario Valladolid had to jump there and made it to second. Probably would have been a close play. So 2 down, 1 runner on here for Chris Barunda, who hit the ball down to the third base side. Grounded out in his last plate appearance. Mario Valladolid representing the tying run here for the Saints. Chris Barunda, of course, the go-ahead run at the plate. First pitch to Barunda, called strike, catching that inside corner. Again, a credit to both pitchers. Really doing a nice job of catching the corners. Craig DeLuz, of course, coming in for Javier Palmas, who did a nice job hitting the corners himself. So here we are in the bottom, or actually the top of the 6th. The Saints trail by 1. Looking to tie this ball game up as the players right here in front of us coming out of the dugout to cheer Chris Barunda on. The pitch outside. Good eye by Barunda. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. Chris choking up about a ½ inch on the bat as to just make contact here, and does just that. Fouls that one back towards the screen. Full count with 2 outs. Valladolid back in time. So Mario just trying to keep things exciting out there on the base paths. Has a nice lead off of second base. With 2 outs, I don't think that he'll go. Right down the pipe to Barunda, and La Jolla gets out of the inning. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, it's La Jolla 4 and San Augustine 3. Leading things off here in the bottom of the 6th for the Vikings is Seth Newsom. First pitch by Craig DeLuz, called strike. So this is a big inning for the Saints. They have to hold the Vikings here and come up and try to get themselves back in the ball game in the last and 7th inning. On deck is Rob Crawford, and David Myers is in the hole here for the Vikings. Ball outside and high as well. Seth making contact in both plate appearances, going down twice. Hit the ball to the right side of the infield, then the left side of the infield in his second attempt. Ball inside. Immediately following the ball game, we'll have the awards presentation, and if we have enough time, we'll try to see if we can get a few interviews in, find out the players' thoughts on this ball game. Seth Newsom gets the job done as the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the sixth. He's on with a walk.
Catcher, Rob 5, Jorge Guillen.
Jorge Guillen will come in and run for Seth Newsom here in the bottom of the sixth. Jorge with that nice lead, wastes no time trying to get a comfortable lead here against DeLuz. DeLuz quickly throws over to keep him honest right away as well. Right back to the pitcher, DeLuz, with the easy throw over to first. He's sacrificed by Rob Crawford. And that moves Jorge to second. David Myers comes to the plate with one down and one on, as DeLuz attempts to get that one on off as he pivots around and tries to get Jorge as he slides back to second safely. So David Myers hit the ball hard out to left field in his last plate appearance. One of the more productive players offensively this season for the Vikings, leading them to a league championship in the Western League. So the sun gradually dying down here at Cunningham Stadium here on the campus of the University of San Diego. Swing and a miss for strike one. Sets the count at 2 balls and 1 strike on David Myers. On deck is Chris Circuit as Jorge takes the lead off of second. Popped up to the infield. Albers makes the call and comes down with the catch. Two down, 1 runner on, and Chris Circuit, who smacked a double, came around to score the go-ahead run in the 5th inning. Comes to the plate for the Vikings. He's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. First pitch by Craig DeLuz, ball outside. DeLuz deals the 2nd consecutive ball to Chris Circuit. Here's the answer to the question on how many stitches there are on the baseball. You can answer either 108 or 216, however you decide to count those. If you're counting each side as 1, it would be 216. The throw over once again to try to nail Jorge, and Pete Albers doing a nice job just to keep that ball in the infield, as that one almost got away from his glove. That one thrown a little off target by Craig DeLuz. Chris Circuit at the plate. Ball high. DeLuz behind in the count here. 3-0 the count. Sends that one right down the pipe. 3 balls and 1 strike, so DeLuz trying hard to get himself out of this inning in hopes that his ball club will come to the plate and get a run. That one, a chopper to third. Richardson throws over in time for the 3rd out. So 4 up and 3 down. And at the end of 6 complete innings of play here at Cunningham Stadium. It's La Jolla 4 and San Augustine 3. John Santos leading off in the top of the 7th, squares around a bunt, then backs up and watch that one go right down the middle by Jason Green. John had a single, came around to score the 2nd run out of the 3 for San Augustine as he hits that one, a chopper to 3rd, gloved by Rizzo, and a fine play by the young freshman. And that brings up Oscar Lopez, who's 1 for 2 and scored 2 runs. As Jason Green hums that one right down the pipe against Lopez. On deck is Craig DeLuz. Lopez drills that one right to the center fielder, who comes up and makes a fine play. David Myers, with at least his 3rd nice grab out there from center field, doing a fine job defensively all ball game long. So Craig DeLuz comes to the plate for the Saints. He ripped a double in his last plate appearance. Watches that one go right down the pipe. And Jason Green, in his last 3 or 4 pitches, has thrown nothing but fastballs. Interesting to see what he comes up with here against DeLuz, who wants to help his own cause here as well. Ball high. Craig, a phenomenal hitter in his own right, going up against the hard-throwing Jason Green. And he spanks this one out to left field. Will it get over the left fielder's head, who jumps up and makes the fine catch, and that will do it. That's the ball game. The La Jolla Vikings come away with a victory here as they go over the top by a score of 4-3 over the San Augustine Saints to win the CIF San Diego Section Division 2A final. They're the champions, as you can see them celebrating. I'm Mike Benson for George Langevin Productions. We'll be back in a moment for the awards presentation, and if we have some time, we'll get a chance to do some post-game interviews as well. Stay tuned for that.
Will present the award to the Saints of San Augustine High School. The football players were Stevenson and Matt Stevenson. And now the players, Chris Belinda.
Step forward, Chris.
Oscar Lopez. Mario Valladolid. Marty Hutchinson. Josh Eaton. Jonathan Santos. Craig Rose. Miguel Lopez. Pete Albers. Tony Miranda. Jamie Olson. Johnson. Javier Thomas. Dennis Grizzly. David Bucky. The assistant coach, Mike Thompson.
Good season, correct.
And to accept the winner of the award for the Saints of San Augustine High School, the head coach, Mike Stevenson. Ladies and gentlemen, the senior school runners up, the Saints of San Augustine High School.
You guys turn around.
Presentation of the championship awards to the 1990 school champions of the high school Vikings. Assistant principal, Bob Salcido, and the principal, Mr. James Harvin. And now the players. David Myers.
Okay, we are back for the post-game show. La Jolla gets the job done. They're victorious 4-3 over San Augustine. We're going to find out and meet some of the players that made it possible. We're going to start here with Jason Green, big gun at the plate. And also, let me ask you this. You started bearing down there at the end. You were throwing nothing but fastballs.
Yeah.
Did you feel real confident you could just fire right by him?
Yeah, I thought I could just get it by him in the end, just let him hit the ball and let our defense make the plays once we got the lead. And just, get the outs as they come, throw strikes, get outs. That's how it works at high school.
Okay, I mentioned during the introduction that these guys beat you in a tournament earlier on the year by a score of 5-1, but you guys have won like 19 games since then, so your confidence is building as you go along. Talk to me about that and how you felt confident coming into maybe this game.
Well, we just got on a roll at the end. We started off 1-5-1. We just won like almost all of our last games. We started getting on a roll. Once we won Western League, that was the biggest step for us, and then we just kept winning from then on. We haven't lost since then.
How does it feel being the champs?
Feels great. Never happened in La Jolla before.
Exactly.
Can't explain the feeling.
Okay, Jason Green, great game. Okay, you're welcome. Rob, that's right. Okay, joining us now is Rob and Ames Crawford. I mentioned at one part during the presentation that the first 3 at-bats as a team, you guys were batting 1,000. You guys feel real confident as soon as you hit the plate today against this team?
Yeah, we felt pretty confident. We knew that he was a good pitcher, but we just went up there, swung the bat, hoped to do as best we could, and we did.
Okay. What about yourself?
Just went up there, making pitch and strikes, and hit his fastball, hit his best pitch.
Okay, so you felt confident the whole way.
Yeah.
Think back now. You guys made it to the championship game. Obviously, make it through the first round and quarterfinals and semifinals. Aside from today's game, which obviously is the most rewarding, what game sticks out in you guys' minds individually as your best games individual in the whole year?
Well, so I don't really like to look at myself individually. I like to look more as a team, and I think one of our most spectacular games was a comeback against Carlsbad in the quarterfinal game.
Okay.
We came back in the 7th and won it 2-1 from a 1-0 loss. Well, we were losing 1-0. We came back and won it 2-1. So that sticks out in my mind as the most gnarly game.
All right. You guys, I know you're unselfish. It is a team game. We like to see how you guys are doing individually as well. But you guys came back in a couple games. There wasn't there another game during the tournament you guys were behind and came back?
Yeah, takes a lot of team spirit, I think, that to be down. We were down in almost every game. Take Torrey Pines, we scored 6 runs, came back, we were down. It takes a lot of team spirit. We got together and won great ball games.
Sure did. Okay, you guys play any other sports together as brothers?
Soccer. Played high school soccer.
And what positions do you guys play? The same or different positions?
He plays. What do you play?
I play a little sweeper and midfield.
I play midfield.
Okay, all right. The Crawford brothers, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Great season.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Okay. All right, joining us now is Chris Circuit, one of the many players adding to this victory. Highlight for well, first of all, how does it feel being the champ?
Oh, it's great. We've been playing a long time, and we've come close many times in Little League and never quite done it. It's nice to finally win.
Okay, let me ask you this. Were you getting a little bit nervous at the end when they were coming up at the end there and had a runner on and their big gun, Craig DeLue's at the plate?
Yeah, it was tough, but I believe in Jason, and he's been in that spot before and gotten guys out, so I felt he could have gotten them out, and we were all there behind him, and Pilar made a nice play to catch the ball. So.
Okay. What was probably, I know that the Crawford brothers didn't want to talk about individual stats, which is understandable, but give me a highlight for you personally on this whole season aside from today's game.
Oh, I'm not sure. It's just been great all year, just winning overall as a team. Everybody's been helping, so.
All right, you guys all have the right attitude. Were you going to say something else?
No, it's just been fun.
Okay. Feel good playing with a bunch of talented teammates?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, and most of us will be back next year, so.
I know, young squad, only 4 seniors. Okay, thanks a lot. Take care, Chris. Okay, as we keep it rolling here with the interviews, joining us now is first baseman and sophomore Seth Newsom. How does it feel just being a sophomore, knowing you're coming back for a couple more years to play?
Well, our whole infield, a lot of our outfield players are young, and we got juniors and sophomores coming in. A lot of young players, and next year we'll be back here, I'm sure. And we still got 2 more years ahead of me for me, so I'm really happy to be here.
Okay, but let's talk about today first. How does it feel personally to come over the top against San Augustine and be the Division IIA champs?
I don't know. It's been a dream. I don't know. At the beginning of the season, we had such a hard time. We went off. We didn't do too well, but now we just come back, and Coach has done a really good job preparing us for CIF. And we're just really great right now. And finally champions. It's nice to feel like a champion. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you feel confident now coming in as a young player to play in a final? Was there some nerves going on in your stomach? Have a little butterflies before the game? Talk to me about what was going through your mind.
Well, at first, when we won semis, I understood we were playing in the finals, and at first everybody's going to have some nerves, but I don't know. Being a young player doesn't really affect me that much, but I've been through a lot of experience in baseball, and it's been a lot of fun. And we came out the victor, so I guess there's no reason to be nervous.
Exactly. Okay, all right. Seth Newsom, thanks for joining us. Good game. All right, joining us now, the talented freshman third baseman, Jeff Rizzo. Let me ask you this. Were you confident throughout this whole game coming in as such a youngster in this ball game? Did you feel good coming into the game?
Oh yeah, our team is, they're a young team, but we're experienced. You know, we have a lot of good players on the team, and we play as a team, and that's the most important thing we do, and it was great.
Okay, how did it feel hitting that nice hit out here to right field? Talk to me about that. Did you feel confident at the plate all day?
Oh yeah, I've been hitting the ball well all tournament this year, and I was confident all through the tournament, so I was feeling pretty good.
How's it feel being the champs?
Oh great, it feels great.
Okay, maybe 3 more years of this.
Oh yeah, we'll be back next year, I guarantee you.
Okay, good. All right, thanks for joining us, Jeff. Good game. All right. Okay, joining us now, Seth Hidalgo. Talk to me about the catch you made out in right field. I mean, the shoestring catch. What was going through your mind as the ball was drilled out? Do you think it was going to fall in, or do you think it would be,
I didn't think it was going to fall, but it was just the last catch behind first. We had some communication problems between second, first, and me, and that time I just had to go for it. I didn't know if Ames was going to get to it, and so I just had to dive for it.
You did. Beautiful
Made the catch, and it worked out fine.
Yeah, must feel great making plays like that in a championship game.
Yeah.
How does it feel? I've been asking some of your teammates how it feels being the champs, but how does it feel playing with such a young, talented group? You guys only have 3 or 4 seniors. You guys are doing great.
They're going to be good for a while. I mean, La Jolla's never had a name for baseball, but we're going to get some respect now. I think we're going to do good.
Okay. A highlight in the game, aside from your catch today for you?
Scoring a run was good.
Yeah.
I like getting us the lead. That was nice. I don't know, just being on base, being out there with all these guys. These kids are young, and I mean, I feel like an old man, but they're going to be good. They're going to be real good.
Now, so you're in your senior year. Have you given any thought as to what you're going to do next year? You're going to go to school and possibly try to play, or do you just want to just...
No, I think I'm going to be playing football for Arizona, University of Arizona. I'm going to try to walk on, see what I can do with it.
Okay, all right. And do well in school while you're there as well. Okay, thanks, Seth. Take care of yourself. All right. Okay, joining us now are the 2 assistant coaches, Mike Francis and George Pinnell. Have to feel great coaching a championship team, but let me ask you this. What are your roles, each respective role, coming into this year and coming into this season?
You start. Mine, I'm the first base coach, and you know, during practice, I'm one of the ones that hits infield and outfield. You know, I think that George pretty much has the same role. We're not the decision makers. That's Bob Allen's role, but you know, we just do our best to support the whole team, and you know, whatever they need us to do, that's kind of at least my role.
Okay, what about yourself?
It's a little bit of everything. You know, it's like Mike says. I got mostly involved with the infield, and at the start of the year, it was supposed to be second, third, short, and a little bit of batting. So it's a little hodgepodge. It's a little bit of everything. But everybody gets in. In fact, we even had the JV coach up here this year for the final games, and he added a lot because he knew a lot about the boys that he had had over the last 3 or 4 years.
It's such a young team now, starting off in that Pirate Colt Classic, going 1-5-1. Then you come away with like 19 victories. Did you ever think that you actually would make it to this game at the beginning? I mean,
I don't think we thought about that at the time. You know, we didn't start thinking about this type of thing until probably, well, until we had a 2-1 come from behind game in the last at bats, and I think that's what made the guys really think, hey, we've got a chance. And we were down 7-1 on another game with Torrey Pines, scored 6, tied it up, and won 11-7. So they really felt then, I think, that they're going to be a ball team, and they really became cohesive.
Okay. So you guys think you'll both be back next year with this squad, or what's in the plans, or is it not? You're not sure yet?
You know, nothing's cast in stone, but you know, it certainly would be a good thing to return to.
Yeah, no question.
Based on you know, our record this year.
Okay. Yourself too, George?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I'm retired, so I get a chance to come and play ball in my older years.
Okay, George Pinnell.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike Francis. Thanks for joining us. Okay. All right, joining us now, the head coaches Mike Stevenson and Bob Allen. You guys have faced each other earlier in the season. Any strategy coming in to be successful and come over the top in the second game? You won the first game, and he was trying to come back victorious in the second. But any strategy at all?
Well, we knew that they were going to scrap, and we're going to have to play good defense and take our opportunities when they came. And we kicked a few balls, and they capitalized like I figured they would, and you got a 4-3 ball game.
Yeah. I asked your assistants this, Bob, or actually, you guys start off 1-5-1, then you come back and win about 18, 19 games in a row. Did you feel at the beginning of the season you're going to find yourself here in this championship game?
Well, we're such a young team that when we were actually 1-6-1 after they beat us, we kept telling the kids, you're a good team. They weren't believing us yet. We got in the city tournament and beat some good teams there, Patrick Henry, Mira Mesa, and that kind of got the ball rolling. And league came, and we were real consistent. We were 3-1 each round in league, and playoffs have just been unbelievable. We've won a game where we were down 7-1, where we were down 1-0. We held on when it was 6-0 to win 6-5. So it's kind of been a lot of baseball luck, and the defense today didn't make an error. The first time we played the Saints, we're the ones that made the errors, and they were the ones that came on top.
I mentioned you made a lot of comebacks during the year. Speaking of comebacks, Mike, the top of the 7th, Craig's at the plate. He blasts one out to left field. From my angle, I thought it was going to get over the left fielder's head. What was going through your mind at that point?
Well, I was hoping it would.
I know.
But he made a few catches out there today where it looked like he was lost, and then he just turned around and made a play. I said, well, in the first inning, he charged back on a ball that was hit high in the air and ran with his back to the ball, and I think he didn't find it till the very last second. But he seemed to have a beat on that one. The ball kind of held up a little bit. And I said, oh, just get over his head, but it didn't.
Okay. And how does it feel, Bob, for you personally having your first championship as a head coach here for La Jolla?
It hasn't sunk in yet, but it will. I mean, we hadn't won a Western League, let alone a CIF. So we got our first Western League, and for myself, the first playoff win was we'd lost 3 years in a row. 1 year to Mike, 3-1, I think it was, 2 years ago. And so after the first one, it's been like cloud 9. We're just been on a roll, and I'm sorry to see it have to end.
Yeah. Okay. So. One-run game is a great game for the final, and 2 appearances straight for you in the finals. You have to feel good about that, Mike.
Well, I feel good about being there. I don't feel good about being this guy, though.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, both of you.
Thank you.
Bob and Mike.
Thank you.
Take care. You're welcome. Okay, I'm Mike Benson for George Langevin Productions. You heard it from the players, the coaches. We enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Until next time, take care.